Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. Bah! OBS Chan seems to be working just fine. Let's hop into this, shall we? Just double check and make sure OBS is recording. Since last time we had a visual error in the video. With that in mind, I open the door. Click. So bright. As soon as I open the door, dazzling light spills out from behind it. I shield my face with a hand and walk into it. The warm light envelops me. It doesn't feel bad at all, so I take another step in. White washes over my field of vision, and I can't even see my own arm anymore. And so everything goes white and... Whoa! That is a very large building. I open my eyes gingerly and exclaim in disbelief. The scenery before me has completely changed. An evenly cut lawn, a symmetrical red brick road. At the end of that road is a dignified, old-looking, stonework mansion. What a big mansion. I've only seen things like this in movies. Can I go inside? I mean, this is my dream. So I guess obviously I can. Wow. Wow. Okay, enough of that. Wow. Wow. The interior is all fancy too. I open the front door and walk inside, finding myself in a spacious entrance hall. I thought it would be more antiquated, but the wooden floor is well polished and maintained. The fancy chandelier hanging overhead casts a warm glow over the room. The walls and the stairs leading to the second floor are lined with pricey-looking framed paintings. Really detailed paintings at that. They look real. This feels weird. Imagining being this shocked by a scenery you imagined in your own head. Am I really dreaming? Is anyone here? Hello? The moment I turn my eyes, I find a woman gazing at me. Surprised, from behind a half-open door. The moment our eyes meet, we both freeze up. In her case, it's likely because some outsider has walked into her mansion. But in mine, it's for very different reasons. She's a maid, plus, she's gorgeous. One could even say she's a Pleiades. No one's going to get that reference, though. It's like everyone's like the person playing the game is an otaku weeb. He makes jokes that no one's going to get. The woman is wearing an apron dress, adorned with lace, along with a frilly headband. It looks very nice on her. Then again, she also looks very nice. Her large clear eyes are pretty, and her skin is pale as snow. Wait, I can't just stare at her like that. She's totally freaked out. What if she thinks I'm some kind of trespasser? She has to be suspicious. At least, I'd better explain myself. Hello? Listen, I'm not suspicious, I swear. I'm just a normal guy. I was wandering around outside and just happened upon this place. She really is freaked out. I mean, it makes sense. She would be. Nothing's more suspicious than a guy who says he's not suspicious. Would it be more awkward if I said I'm not awkward? Alright then. Is she going to shout at me? I have to get out of here before she calls someone. Welcome home, master. Ha. I've been waiting for you to arrive home. I was concerned since you were quite late to return. I have a very bad sense of direction. I can't help but glance behind me. The door to the mansion is closed shut. I look around, but I don't see anyone but me and this girl. By master, do you mean me? I'm just some guy who passed by here and No, you are most certainly my and this estate's master. I've been waiting for you to return for a very long time. With that said, the maid pinches up her skirt in a curtsy. The way she slightly pulls back one leg and stands on her fingertips. What? Along with her elegant smile, it's all perfect. I feel like this is the incorrect word. Do you mean tiptoes? Perhaps it's a translation error. I think it's supposed to be tiptoes. Yeah, I think this is a translation error. This is your estate, master, and I am your maid, devoted to healing you and providing you with comfort. It's like, what's this? Someone who cares about you? This is... Honestly, such an outward unbelievable. It's like suspension of disbelief. Just like, oh, yep, it's definitely a dream. Still a nice dream. My name is Seira. She just said it. Like, initially when I saw the word in print, my instinct is to just say Seira. Seira. It's... My name is Seira. A pleasure to make your acquaintance. Yes, pleasure to meet you too, Seira. Overwhelmed by Seira's picturesque curtsy. My voice comes out a bit shrill and excited. Seira? 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 Seira. Seira meets my response with a grin. Seeing her smile only serves to accentuate how cute she is. She's dazzling. But she said she's been waiting for me. Well then, so that's the story here? In this dream, I'm the master of this mansion. Does this mean my mind came up with this cute maid? She is very, very cute. She's just too pretty. I can hardly believe I made her up all on my own. Now then, my master, ask for anything, and I shall provide. You know, this kind of reminds me. There was another game. Where a character behaved similar to this. Well, some similarities. Mainly they were the master part. You know, where they were referring to me as master and all that. And everyone's like, this is already vastly inappropriate. I'm like, you are new to this channel then, aren't you? That being said, I'm going to have... because this will probably be in the playlist with Amnesia Memories. Most recent playlist. I'll probably just put a link to that video in the description. Granted, as a guy in that circumstance, but I'm just saying both people are very pretty. I do like her outfit. She looks really nice in it. Also, I like her hair color. I like the mansion. How would you even heat a building this big? It's gotta be expensive. It's magical and it's a dream. Stop questioning everything and just be happy. As your maid, I will do everything within my power to meet your demands, and provide you with all the care and comfort you need. I suppose the two things I have to ask all of you is, first, who enjoys the anime and light novels Overlord? 2, would you like this situation to be in this situation yourself? But then again, I guess that's the main question, is this, can anyone relate to the sentiment of having someone care about you is nice? And it's something I feel that at least for many people, myself included, that it is something a bit lacking. And I see continuing to be lacking for the rest of the foreseeable future, for the rest of time. So, oh well. I have anime and I can walk on bike trails. Life is good, especially when you get a pizza or Pepsi and stuff. So that's cool. Maybe get some cookies. Play some video games. Maybe we'll get a new FPS game. It's like the original Halo trilogy, but better somehow. I played a bit of Path of Exile 2. It's a good game. There's only 2 things I dislike about it. And no, it's not the difficulty. I'm okay with the difficulty. I do die quite a bit in the game, but I'm okay with that. It's still a fun game. The 2 things I dislike about Path of Exile 2 are, 1, inventory. I don't like having to manage such a small inventory. I want to be able to just pick up 1 million objects. I want it to be like Final Fantasy VII, where there's like multiple screens of just where each screen can hold 50 items and each item can be like stacked up to 99. I want to just carry millions of objects to the point that when I decide to sort through or to sell anything, it literally takes 4 hours of just listening to an audiobook of like Overlord or Korn, you know, the band Korn, to sort through things and sell things. I just want to pick up everything and just keep shooting everything in the game. I don't want to have to constantly, oh, you shot 2 things. Now let's sort through more things in your equipment and decide to compare things. It's like, no, I just want to play the game. I don't want to have to constantly manage the inventory or decide what I can or cannot carry. I want to carry literally everything I see. 2. There is no sword. Or at least as far as I've seen. You have the warrior who has like hammers and a shield or bigger hammers or a mace. I want a giant, and I understand there's like going to be 6 more classes that come out eventually in like a year or something when it's out of the early release. But here's a good, like, granted, I've said many times Brave Fencer Musashi is the best game on the PlayStation 1. And I've said Dot Hack Infection is perhaps one of the most immersive games ever made. But I'll say this, the best game ever made for the PS2 is Shining Force EXA, the 5th Shining Force. I only like the first one and the 5th one. I like the original Shining Force game, which is like a Final Fantasy Tactics type game. And EXA is kind of like Path of Exile. But yes, it is much easier, and it lets you carry everything. But more to the point is that you're controlling a party, kind of like an action JRPG. And it's kind of Dynasty Warriors in a way, but also you have different characters, mages, archers, knights, all that. Though the 2 main characters you control most of the time will be Cyril and Toma. Cyril, you can use either a crossbow or your spells. And with Toma, you can either use a small 1-armed sword and a shield, or my preference was just use the giant 2-armed greatsword, which then you cleave through things. And even though it was a PS2 and it was an offline game, there were so many enemies I was cleaving through at one time that the game was starting to lag. A PS2 offline game, no connection to the internet at all. Back before video games, back before the internet really actually existed. And it was still like robots screaming at you when you like had to use dial-up. Like back when video games did not connect to the internet. There was no such thing as a patch, or an update or DLC. Heck, I don't even think the word microtransaction did ever even come into existence at that point. But anyway, I think the game came out like what, 2002, 2003 or something? I'm not sure. But main point is this. I liked having the big, giant sword. Like, overcompensating much? Okay, sure, why not? My dick is not giant. Okay, good enough. I'm just saying, it was fun just to play the game where I'm like going into a giant-ass fucking crowd of enemies and just, you know... Now, granted, you can't play Path of Exile that recklessly, but I'm just saying, I like the idea of a giant 2-armed sword and the ability to cleave through, you know, to have an attack that goes through an entire group like that. And people say, oh, the mace and the club kind of work like that. I'm like, yeah, and maybe I'm just complaining about an aesthetic and a small gameplay mechanic. I'm just saying, I enjoyed the gameplay in Shining Force EXA. Everyone's just to say, go back to play that. I'm like, yeah, but I'm just saying, I'd like to not have to manage the inventory like that. And I'd like more swords in Path of Exile. Everyone's like, well, maybe stay focused on the game you are currently playing. I'm like, okay, I got distracted. My bad. I forget what we were even talking about. Maybe I'll get some Burger King. Anything, huh? I can't really come up with anything when you put me on the spot like that. Same. Seira thinks. Seira. I would feel very flustered if I was having this issue in real life with somebody if I met them IRL like this. Because, like, I would feel really bad about saying their name incorrectly. Just double checking OBS to make sure it's actually... Seira links her hands in front of her waist, waiting for me to say the word. Being told to ask for anything makes it hard to actually do so. To begin with, what do maids even do? Well, they clean, cook, and generally just provide assistance. Kind of like a personal assistant. So it just depends on, I guess, just generally what kind of person you are. Like, say if you're maybe an accountant or a warrior or something, maybe they'd like do something that's somewhat related to that. And everyone's like, you've never been rich. I'm like, no, I haven't. The extent of what I know about maids basically exists from anime, movies, and probably books. Actually, I don't think I've ever actually met a maid in person. I mean, I've been to, like, hotels, and there's been a cleaning staff. But, I mean, in regard to a mansion, and someone dressed like this, you know, I don't think I've ever actually, and if I have, I don't remember. I don't think I've ever actually encountered an individual dressed in this type of outfit. And if I did, it must have been a very long time ago. Like I say, I've never been rich. I'll never be rich. Heck, I think I was watching this video, like Asmongold, like reacting to this rapper or something. And the rapper was like wearing this like chain or something. Talking about like it's like $500,000. I'm like, I am 37. I'm going on 38. I have been working my entire life. I've had a job since I was 14. I've generally tend to work like 50 hours a week. I've worked jobs where I've worked 70 hours a week. I'm pretty sure that's more money than I've made my entire life. And that's before taxes. Just saying, if I had $500,000, I definitely wouldn't be spending it on a fucking chain. Then again, I remember walking around a mall and passing by like those jewelry places. And I'll see they have like a tiny little thin golden chain for like $2,000 to $3,000. I'm like, holy shit, who on earth is buying this? Why? I'm just saying, even if I was rich, I would never buy a fucking chain like that. Even if it was just $2,000. Why? Now, don't get me wrong, like, there's certain outfits, like, say, take Fate Barbados from Berserker Gluttony. I think I've shared a picture of that in the community post, saying I would dress like that if I was rich. So yes, if I was rich, I would probably wear, like, cosplay stuff, or stuff like anime characters wear, but even then, I would still have limits to how expensive I would spend on it. I guess the main limitations to me spending money on cosplay stuff is, well, 3 things. 1, I tend to be busy a lot. 2, that's expensive. And 3, I am not aesthetic to look at. Everyone's like, stop dancing, you're ugly as fuck. Like, yes, I get it. I am ugly as fuck. Moving on. Oh, I hear a growl come from my belly. Yeah, we're gonna get a pizza. I'm pretty sure a maid could actually cook you a pizza, or something better. But as that thought crossed my mind, I hear a growl coming from my belly. My stomach has chosen the most opportune moment to protest its emptiness. Come to think of it, I did skip dinner. Why, that just won't do. You need to make sure to eat 3 meals a day to maintain a healthy lifestyle. 1. She is very pretty and very feminine. 2. I understand it's a 2-dimensional picture, but it does seem like it's very, I don't know, expressive facial expressions. I'm just saying, for a drawing, it's doing a very good job of conveying emotion. Also, hey, look! An image of a person actually showing concern for you. It's like, oh, look, someone who cares. Then Seira, could you make me something to eat? I ask hesitantly. Seira nods, looking genuinely happy. As you wish, I will live up to your expectations, Master. Well, thank you, I appreciate that. Guys, notice these pockets? What does she put in those pockets? Everyone's like, it's a pocket. You put pocket things in pockets. I'm just saying, as a maid, what are things that maids normally have to carry around that would be beneficial to have on hand at all times? It's kind of like saying, oh, that guy's a carpenter. He probably has a hammer. It's kind of... If you would, kindly follow me to the dining room. It's this way. Ah, yes, thank you. Yeah, I've been criticized that I tend to be a bit reserved and tend to have too mellow of a temperament. But I am me, so oh well. Haha. No need to feel reserved, Master. This is your estate, after all. This is the parlor. What's a parlor? A living room of sorts. In Victorian houses such as this estate, the entire family has breakfast in the parlor. Wow, this house is so big, just this room is twice the size of my place. Please think of this mansion as your home and relax. I'll prepare the meal right away. I suppose that's the biggest thing right here that not only this character, myself, or other people out there who may be watching this might relate to. 1, wanting someone who actually cares about you. 2, wanting someone you can trust. 3, having a little bit more space. You know, if you're... I can't complain too much about the size of my home. I think it's okay, but... I suppose a lot of the other thing is this. Especially a lot of people who probably do live... and you're not a fucking mansion. Does anyone else sometimes feel stressed out about living paycheck to paycheck? Granted, I do spend a bit of money on Steam games. I've cut down on that significantly. Then again, I would always buy games when they're like 80 or 90% off, pretty much. But aside from that, I'll spend a bit of money on like fast food or getting an anime or something. Paying for internet. Thanks. I appreciate it. There she goes. Seira, huh? Such a beautiful maid. I really can't believe I dreamed a girl like this up. I've never seen a girl this pretty, be it in real life or in fiction. Still, it's kind of weird how I wished for someone to treat me nicely, and a pretty maid immediately shows up in my dreams and calls me her master. I guess my desires are pretty straightforward. A meal made by a maid. I wonder what she'll make. I'm starting to look forward to it. This is my dream, but I can't imagine what she'll cook up. I circle the table restlessly, for a bit, and a few minutes later, the door opens and Seira walks in. She approaches my seat with the kind of silver trolley I've only ever seen in foreign dramas. Thank you for waiting, Master. Oh. Since you've yet to eat, Master, I have prepared a quick but filling and satisfying breakfast. The main dish is Eggs Benedict. It's made by placing bacon and poached eggs on top of a slightly toasted English muffin and spreading... I don't think I've ever seen that word before in my life. Bechamel? Sauce all over it. Yes, my mind went to something sexual. I'm sorry. Please eat it with a knife and fork. Isn't that how you normally eat eggs? And who doesn't eat eggs with a knife and fork? In addition, I prepared some sautéed okay, in order of words there, and you can see an E missed, but I don't know. I'm not going to complain too much about the translation. I understand what's being said very clearly, so I'm not going to complain. In addition, I prepared some sautéed broccoli and onions. Broccoli is rich in vitamins and is known for its effectiveness at relieving fatigue. I have seasoned it quite deeply, so it should be quite filling. That sounds delicious. Actually, all of this sounds very good. For dessert, I prepared yogurt with blueberry jam. There's granola at the bottom for you to enjoy. Well, it's definitely not something I would normally... Well, none of this is not something you would normally fucking have, but... I mean, you'd cook eggs, but it's not like whatever the B-word sauce was, like brulee, something. I don't know. I'm just saying, this does sound good, though. This does still sound very good. It's just... Again, out of the ordinary, describes this whole scenario, but not in any ways a bad thing. It's actually really nice. Thank you, Seira. Sorry. Wow, it looks delicious, and pretty too. All the plates are porcelain, and the silverware is polished like a mirror. That has to be very difficult to do. I'm glad you noticed. I thoroughly polished them myself. Well, in my own personal life, I don't think I polish a single fucking bit of silverware. I just wash my silverware and then I reuse it. But I will say the fact that you spent that much attention to detail, that's a lot of hard work on your part. Thank you. The food is arranged perfectly. It's like a work of art. I almost feel bad eating it. Are you sure it's okay? Of course, I made it for you, Master. Feel free to eat it. This entire scenario seems very pleasant. I like this. I don't think I would change anything. Other than, of course, different meals. I wouldn't want the same breakfast every day. But again, this is not a bad breakfast, but I'm just saying I wouldn't. I'm pretty sure if I ate this meal every single meal, I would have complaints. I would want different meals from day to day, like different dinner and lunch. Everyone's like, "You're making this too complicated." I'm sorry. My talking to myself is getting a tad far. Then I'll gladly take you up on that offer. Let's eat. I pick up the knife and fork and carefully cut the food. I never had eggs Benedict before, but I've heard of it. I wonder how it'll taste. I ponder as I carry it to my lips. The muffin is slightly toasted, and its aroma is fragrant. The bacon is aggressively salty. The bacon is aggressively salty, and the soft egg melts in my mouth. The bechamel sauce envelops all of them, granting a savory flavor. So it's probably a buttery, earthy flavor. For how simplistic they are, each individual ingredient's flavor is just one piece of the puzzle. Their flavors mix together, forming a perfect, delicious harmony. I squeeze my eyes shut, speechless. Seeing this, Seira smiles in satisfaction. Huh? It seems it's to your taste. It does sound delicious. Of course, I'm a fucking fat ass, and I'm like, I don't actually get to eat it. Maybe I'll have to make it sometime. Though I have to look up what the bechamel sauce is, and either see if Walmart has it, or if I can just make it. That doesn't even begin to describe it. I've never had something this good before. Thank you, Master. Your kind words are wasted on a mere maid such as myself. Should you wish, I could prepare another serving. But before that, allow me to prepare the most important part of breakfast. I already can say it right now what I think the most important part of breakfast is. Tea. I don't know what kind of tea we're going to have, but I would assume something with caffeine. Granted, milk or orange juice are good things to drink for breakfast too. I like caffeine and I like tea. Yes, I added maybe a little more sugar than I should. Saying this, Seira reaches something sitting on the wagon. I was right! Oh wow, you're actually being scientific about it? Like 100 cc's of water. Like, wouldn't you just measure it in milliliters? Why cc's of what? Does anyone do that? That tea looks great. Look at that tea. Oh, so fancy. And she's paying a very close attention. But yeah. Everyone's like, stop simping. I'm just saying she looks... I don't know. I'd say she looks perfect. She looks wonderful. And I like her personality. She's... I don't know, chill? But also... a mix of laid back and formal at the same time. I'm just saying it's nice to feel at ease, you know? Like, you ever, like, it's the opposite of, like, say, like, you know, liminal spaces or horror games where you feel, like, all on edge and anxious. This is the opposite of, like, whatever word you would use to describe for, you know, not being anxious. That word. She instills a feeling of the word of whatever it means to feel not anxious. And it's like everyone's like, Lunar?
What did you describe it as the last time you didn't feel anxious? I don't think I remember that. I think it's just a permanent part of my personality. But whatever the opposite of the word anxious is, she instills that feeling to a degree.
Also, again, that tea looks really good. Yes, I would probably add 4 sugar cubes to that cup of tea. I'm sorry. Add water to the kettle, apply the heat. Add 1 teaspoon of tea leaves per 100 cc's of water. Her eyes look really nice. Then again, so does all of her. I mean, her face, her body, yes, her chest. I'm looking at her tits. They look really nice. Especially the way they, you know... Also, her hair looks really nice. Heck, I mean, you can tell it's not fucking AI drawn. Everyone's like, stop insulting AI. I'm just saying, her hands look really well drawn. They look nice. Everything about her looks nice. Her ears are nice. Her little bow. Also, whatever you call it, like, I know it's not pigtail or whatever it is, like, braids. Just saying. Whoever drew this picture, you have my compliments. It's a very good picture. You did a good job. Freshly boiled water is best for tea. Pour it in slowly from as high a height as possible? Really? Allowing the air, water, and tea leaves to mix. Huh. I never heard that before. Is that true? Once the water is poured in, quickly place the lid and let it steam. Gauge the steaming time according to the size of the tea leaves. It should be done in around 2 minutes. Bring out the scent. Color and flavor the leaves. Yes, looking good. You seem very professional and meticulous. Here you are, your tea for the day. Thank you, I do like tea. Predominantly, most of the tea I drink tends to be caffeinated, but still. I like this. I feel the aroma fill my nostrils. While I'm still in awe of the food, she places a porcelain teacup in my hands, from which rises a striking fragrance. It smells amazing. I chose Earl Grey today. Its thick flavor won't be overpowered by the food, nor will it clash with the meal's flavor. The aroma should be a thick, rich, and enjoyable one. I do like my Earl Grey. It's red like rubies. I feel like it's been forever since I last had tea. Tea is a must for a British meal. I must choose the right leaves from a selection of over 100 kinds and pour them in just the right way to draw out their taste and aroma. That sounds like you put a lot of work into it. Side note, I'm not British, but I do like the things of various cultures. That being said, I'm an American. I live in Ohio. Basically lived in Ohio my whole life.
And I can't remember, it's either 46 or 47%. I think it's 47. I am 47% English and 47% Scottish by ancestry. Can't say I'd ever have any interest in actually going to England or Britain or Scotland or any of those places. I think if I were to travel, I think places that might be nice would be like France, Japan, Australia, Germany. I don't know. Then again, I suppose if I was rich, I imagine any place would probably be, a warm reception and a pleasant atmosphere. And everyone's like, keep playing the game. I'm like, I'm taking a moment to just enjoy this. This is nice. Everyone's like, you're staring at her tits. I mean, I was staring at her face for like 40% of that conversation. It's just the other 60% my eyes went directly to her boobs. Men look into the heart more often than they look into the eyes. That's how the perfect tea for your meal is selected, like a gem to adorn a ring. Do enjoy yourself, master. I guarantee you that this tea's exquisite flavor will surely satisfy you. Yes, I took a screenshot for the thumbnail. Well, alright. I'll give it a taste. As Seira puffs up confidently, I raise the teacup. The ruby-like surface of the tea is as clear as a mirror. Just bringing it to my lips fills my nostrils with a rich, pleasant aroma. I close my eyes and silently sip on the tea. I'm rendered utterly speechless. The scent of the tea leaves fills my mouth, the flavor lingering on my tongue. The way it all mingles with the meal's flavor to form a delectable harmony is beyond words. Any word my meager vocabulary could come up with to do justice to describe this sensation. It's like every cup of tea I've had until now was a cheap imitation, and only now did I taste real tea. It's seriously that good. Seira, this is amazing. I'm honored, Master. Would you like another cup? Yes, please. And everyone's like, chill out on the tea. I drink water too. I've had kidney stones before. Those suck. I've also had other issues from surgeries that were less than pleasant. But not getting into that. I've talked about that before. Thanks. Could you pour me another? Of course. Ask whatever you please of me, and I will be at your service. Seira says this with a gentle smile. I consider the way she curtsies, and smiles softly along with the meal and tea set before me. It's all so perfect that this being a dream can't possibly explain it. Phew. That was delicious. Are you satisfied, Master? If not, I can prepare some cookies. Yes, that sounds wonderful. And everyone's like, Lunar, stop being fat. I'm like, It's like I am 5'11" and I am 210 pounds. It's like, just
barely not 6 foot. No, I'm absolutely stuffed. I would still actually eat the cookies. I like cookies. If anything, this was all so tasty, it might have shocked my stomach. Thank you kindly. I was quite pleased to see you so engrossed with the meal. Yes, I was very, very much enjoying the meal. To the point that I might have to actually learn how to make eggs Benedict. However you live, I'll have to watch the video to see how you spell that word. Maybe it's something I can buy at Walmart. It was a dreamlike breakfast. I can't remember the last time I was this satisfied. It's not just my food that was so delicious. It's the fact that it was freshly prepared and warm. That makes a big difference. Plus the fact that, it was brought to me by somebody that actually, put a lot of, not only attention to doing it, but actually a lot of attention and caring about, me actually enjoying it. So, I appreciate both things. I appreciate that she took the time to cook it, and that I appreciate that she actually cares that I enjoy it, and wants me to enjoy the food. That the vegetables were fresh and genuine, untainted by artificial seasoning. That I had a meal with time, effort, and kindness put into its arrangement, and nutritional value. That I was able to blissfully eat with someone at my side. I can hardly process it. It's such a simple, mundane thing, but it fills me with a sense of longing. I know this might be an odd question, but anyone out there watching this, how much would you like to actually be doing what's happening in this game? Having someone treat you like this and actually, cook the food for you and set it in front of you and actually not only care about how well the food turned out, but actually, care that you're happy or healthy. Does that sound nice to anyone? When was the last time I had a meal with someone made for me? Restaurants don't count. Well, I'd say the only time anything else would be say I go over to my parents for Christmas, where they cooked a bit of food. Some turkey and stuffing. Some vegetables, some mashed potato, and gravy. And, any of the relationships I had, I can't say any of them were the kind of people to cook anything. So, I'd say most of the meals I eat tend to be just ready-made stuff or stuff I cook myself. And usually it's nothing super complicated, it's just something I can cook in a skillet or cook in the oven. I don't think anyone's treated me this kindly ever since I started my job. And when I think of it that way, heck. Master, what's the matter? Did I do something to offend you? No. I was getting sentimental thinking about just the fact that IRL, my life is go to work, eat snacks. That basically, and a lot of people watching this might even relate to this, that both the person in the game and IRL me, this is much more kindness and attentiveness than I think I can really even remember anyone doing. I mean, heck, when I was a kid, my mom would cook. My mom cooked stuff homemade
That was nice. But that was like 20 plus years ago. That would also sometimes sit in the kitchen and just talk to my mom as she was cooking. And sometimes she would sit and play like Mario 1, Mario 3 back on the NES. Or like Spyro the Dragon, the first Spyro. Granted, neither of us were really good at the games back then, but I just enjoyed spending the time with her. But I think most people, I don't know, would anyone else agree that IRL life for most of us is wake up, go to work, come home, that there's less social interaction, and that the idea of, well, anyone actually caring about you like this is pretty much something you have no expectation of ever occurring. Like, I've had relationships, and honestly, while I'm grateful I was able to have the relationships I had, my marriage was fucking hell. I mean, you basically actively came home to someone who hated you and constantly said how much they wish you were dead, who didn't cook, and seemed to actively want you to be miserable. So the idea of, one, not being alone, also being with someone you can trust, and someone who is kind and actually cares about you, and is actually, competent, because she is very competent, very skilled at what she does, very professional. And the fact that she actually cares enough to actually try very hard at what she's doing, and to actually care about the result, and actually care about my well-being, my health, my happiness, and just how I am. I feel like you came home and this maid met you at the door. She would actually care how your day at work went, or how you were feeling, or what your thoughts and feelings were. Or would actually just be happy that you're home. Would actually make you feel welcome in your own home. Like the way she is, the way Seira is, if I don't butcher her fucking name, which is a nice name, I'm just terrible at enunciating, apparently. It's just the idea of, she is very pleasant, she is very welcoming, she is not aggressive, she is not combative, she's very feminine, she's very pretty, and she's actually very kind. And you feel welcome and at peace and calm around her. Yeah, I remembered the fucking word for the opposite of anxiety. Just saying. Whether it's a maid or even an actual, life partner actually living with you, this is really nice. Granted, if we went the route of life partner, there would be other things involved too. But you guys get what I mean, right? The world out there is basically feels like a battle every day. You don't want to come home to feel like you're not welcome in your own home and you're hated and you can never fucking rest or relax. And it's a bittersweet concept, this. One hand, everything about this game is extraordinarily pleasant. But both for myself, the Haruto character of the game, our ever-vigilant protagonist, who's been killing himself at work, and, well, all of you, my much-appreciated viewers who have had the patience to sit through and listen to me being, well, me, I think all of us can agree that, on the one hand, the idea of such a person as this in our lives, whether it be just as a maid, or as an actual, romantic partner who lives with us, regardless, both of those scenarios are very pleasant. But also, I think we can all agree both of those scenarios, in any way, shape, or form, are completely fucking impossible, and there is no reason for any of us to have any expectation of even 1/1000th of this
ever existing IRL for any of us. And our lives will be continual loneliness and isolation. Then again, I would rather be in loneliness and isolation than with a psycho bitch. But aside from the fact that most marriages that I tend to see out there IRL from other people, plus stories of people on the internet, seem like fucking horror stories rather than romance. I mean, when it comes right down to it, is this. Most people can't even get a girlfriend or a relationship or a maid in this scenario, like an attendant. Because in this situation, there's nothing sexual about this, other than the fact that I've stared at her boobs for like every other minute. I'm sorry, she's pretty. And her boobs look nice. Just saying. Most people have difficulty even getting a partner nowadays anyway. I think, about like 70% of men are basically single now. Marriage rate, the only reason why the divorce rate isn't getting worse is because no one is getting married anymore. Most people can't even get a date, it seems. And even then, how expensive are dates nowadays? And even then, with inflation and wage stagnation, it's not even an issue of can you be rich. It's an issue of if you had a wife and multiple kids, would you even be able to make enough money to even support yourselves? Let alone, be rich. I mean, can you even survive? Like, how many people get by on just an average salary if you're just a factory worker? Let alone if you're someone out there. And here's the thing, I'm not knocking people that work at like Walmart or retail or any of that stuff for a living. I'm just saying this. Is it ever going to be possible for any of us to really be able to, like, if you wanted a family of like multiple kids, would it ever be possible? Doesn't it, as is, feel like you're already struggling to get by? And I know I shouldn't complain. I mean, I spend money on anime and, these games and stuff, but I don't feel like I'm spending a fortune. Like, it's the difference between saying, well, you can't afford to buy a house because you get avocado toast. Side note, I don't like avocado toast. I'm just saying, the cost of rent in proportion to how much money people actually make, as well as the availability of jobs and the conditions of it, I feel there's a big difference between someone trying to pay their rent in 2024 and 2025 than it is, say, in like the 90s. Sorry if I depressed any of you. I'm just trying to say is, one, whether you're talking about a scenario where a person's just your platonic maid, or if you actually do have, and you're just saying, oh, your marriage is supposed to be like a woman's supposed to be a maid or something. I mean, again, every relationship's different. I can't say the marriage I had came even a billionth of this, She didn't cook, she didn't clean, she didn't take care of our child. She was terrible to live with. But I'll say this. In a scenario where men could just make enough money at their job that would actually cover everything, like back in the 80s and 90s, I think many men would like somebody who has this level of attentiveness and actually cares about you being happy. Regardless of your stance in the matter, she is very pleasant. She's really nice. Now, granted, it'd be different if she wasn't a maid. But even then, I think there are many men and many women who enjoy
this kind of, relationship, which has basically become almost non-existent in modern day. Because a lot of times people will see it as like, oh, some sort of oppression or something like that, but at the end of the day is this. Even if we're going about relationship-wise, what's more oppressive? Having to go sit in a fucking cubicle 50 hours a fucking week at some corporate job to come home to an empty house? Or to be able to spend your days at home doing a little bit of cleaning and cook a meal for someone who loves and cherishes you and loves you with all their heart, and to be able to spend time with your own kids. Whereas in modern day, I think most of the marriages I see of other people, like my ex-wife never worked. I was always the sole income. But then again, my marriage was fucking horrible and awful. But hey, I'm still grateful I was able to have it. I still say the day my son was born was the happiest day of my life. But when I look out there in public, I see so many people who both the man and the woman have to work just to scrape by. At which point, who's home with the kids? The kids are either home alone or they're being raised by the schools. They're at school basically being raised by the government. What kind of family life is that for the children? Shouldn't the kids want their mom at home with them? Shouldn't the mom want to be at home with the kids? Like, even though I worked a lot, I always tried to spend every moment I possibly could with my son. Granted, years and divorce and stuff have gone since then, and, well, I'm alienated from my son at the moment. Hopefully that gets better. But hey, that seems to be the standard for most people out there. It seems to become norm, which I feel like is just a collapse of society sort of thing. I'm just saying, this is nice, whether it be as a maid or as a romantic partner, which, yes, that would also be very appealing, given I like her personality. And not just the fact that she's a maid and being serving to me. I mean, just her general mannerisms of speaking. Of course, more of that personality would probably come out if, we were to, sit and play video games together, or go hiking on a bike trail together or something like that, or go out to eat together. Obviously, it's very different. And a relationship is not necessarily a fucking maid-master situation. But I guess the main thing I'm trying to say is, whether it's a maid serving you, or if it's a relationship partner, or even a friend, it's the idea of someone caring about you like this. For someone actually valuing your existence and seeing value in you as a person, and not seeing you as some disposable commodity. Here's the thing. I don't think either person should look at the other person as an object. I think both people should love and care about each other, but at the same time, it's like, people shouldn't feel disposable, or like there's some utility, like their only purpose is just that they're actually cared about as a person. Even in this situation where the person's a maid, you would care about the person as a person. Then again, she would also have her own personal life too, but it just depends. And of course, if her personal life's living here, then, well, I don't know, we're overthinking this. And we're also applying a lot of real-world logic. I'm just saying a lot of the issues that some people would complain about with my comparisons, because they would say, oh, you're demeaning women and treating women like objects, and oh, what is a woman just a maid in a marriage? I'm like, what, if you're already living at home, I think the main thing most men just want is just someone who cares about them. Someone who's pleasant to be around. I think most men, especially with modern conveniences, like, I don't need anyone to cook or clean for me. I don't need it. But the gesture sure is appreciated to such a large degree that when a two-dimensional drawing has a story about making me a breakfast, I appreciate it. I think it's nice. I like it. But again, that's if we go the direction of relationship. But I'm trying not to make a super long video. I'm just saying, whether it just be as a maid or as a, romantic partner, it's nice to have someone who actually cares. Actually sees value in you as a person. Then again, I don't know, maybe I'm just a fucking loser. I mean, I am the weeb otaku man. But, I mean, aside from the fact that many people out there probably feel a bit of isolation and loneliness like I do, or just generally would like someone who values you, cares about you, and whether as a maid like this, just showing general, surface level affection like this, of caring, or in a romance, in a romantic situation of a relationship, you'd want someone who's very physically affectionate too. But both are important. I'm just saying, even in a physical relationship, I would want emotional affection too. Heck, I would feel sexual intimacy is supposed to be I can't think of the correct word. It's supposed to be a reflection of the emotional intimacy and trust and mutual respect between people. Like, both people should care about each other. It shouldn't be about just base carnal, desires and you're just fucking someone just to get off or some shit. It's supposed to be, this is somebody you love and care about, who loves and cares about you, and you feel safe and close with them. And I guess maybe it's a bit relatable to people out there if anyone else feels the same on this. Like, does anyone else feel like in scale of all of society that you're nothing? Like, here's the thing. I'll walk around, I'll go to Walmart and stuff, but here's the thing. When it comes to the scale of everything in this world, or the country, or just society itself, I feel distinctly that I am nothing. I am a complete fucking nobody. My life and death really have no impact on the rest of society, my happiness, my feelings, my thoughts. I'm part of society. I'm a functioning adult who works quite a bit. But at the end of the day, I'm barely a cog in the machine. And even then, even if it comes to like a job, like if I go work at any job I work at, I'm sure if things don't work out one day, I can be easily fired and replaced. I'm just a fucking number. Whether it's in the society or any job I have. And that's another thing. I do feel like, in general, like, especially in relationships, I've not exactly... Let's just say that stuff has not worked out very well. And I've talked about that in depth before, so I won't bore you guys with that stuff again. Just saying, at least in my own personal feelings, and granted, yeah, I mean, I can focus on other things. I can go walk on bike trails and play video games, and I can enjoy the simple things in life. Heck, I live in an era with anime and air conditioning, that both of those things are awesome. Plus, I like taking 15 showers a week. I like to eat certain foods. Granted, I'm a bit fat because I like eating things like pizza and cake and ice cream and chocolate. All sorts of snacks, and Heck, I'll probably go to Burger King after this video while it's still uploading. So I do like eating. I go to the gym, but I don't make any progress there, and I do enjoy just trying to work out, even though I feel like I seem to always injure myself. I don't enjoy my job, but I'm grateful I have my jobs that I've had. I mean, I'm grateful to be able to pay things like rent, and to be able to have a little extra money to buy things like this video game, or, internet, or fast food, or buy an anime DVD. But at the same time, it's just... I don't think I've ever made enough money, whether it was my family when I was younger, or even me right now, or even when I was married. I don't think I've ever made enough money, despite at times working like 70 hours a week in previous jobs. I don't think I've ever made enough money to where my household, whether it was times where I was a child or even as an adult, I don't think there was any time in my entire life that I have ever made enough money to even count on the lowest end of middle class. And I feel like this fucking mansion and shit would be... I'm pretty sure no one in the middle class, even the upper echelons of the middle class, would ever have such a thing. But at the end of the day, I can't complain. I live as a fucking king compared to people to the past. Heck, I would say kings of medieval England had, less quality of life than what I do now. So I'm grateful for a lot of things. I have clothes, I have a roof. Granted, I'm worried about rent sometimes, and bills, and the fact that if something were to happen, I suddenly wouldn't have work. I'd basically not be able to afford rent very long, and basically be fucking homeless. And then probably die. But all that aside, I'm just saying this. I have a lot of good things in life. And while I complain about my health at times, it's nothing super serious. And I'm alive to begin with. And I can see and hear, and I can listen to great music, and I have a guitar and a keyboard, and I have tons of anime and manga and video games. And I can annoy all of you on the internet by being the awkward, inappropriate person who would hey guys, we're here to talk about tentacle hentai, or stuff like that. There's nothing professional about this channel, and I've never made a cent from this channel, and I'm never going to make a cent. Even though it would be nice to be fucking rich. Oh, God, it would. But even if I had 1 million fucking subscribers on YouTube, I'm never going to monetize my channel. I'm never going to have super chats or merchandise or any of that kind of stuff. I just like making the videos to make the videos. Granted, it would be nice if they were entertaining to people, but I seem to have the inability to focus on trying to make any sort of polished product, and instead it's literally just a place for me to talk without a filter. Granted, I do enjoy Let's Plays. I watched quite a bit of Let's Plays back with Ultra J-Man and Rom Scout and all those guys way back in the past. And DDR Maniac 007. Sakana 13, Zeta Plays, Eldrick 4. Lots of Let's Players. Slow Beef, Freelance Astronauts, Proton John, the early days of Markiplier. I still enjoy watching Markiplier. Just sort of vicariously hanging out with people via the internet, getting some entertainment. Sometimes just having a video play in the background while I play a video game. Everyone said, that just makes you sound like a lonely loser. And I'm like, I'm not going to deny that. Though, I do definitely prefer my loneliness as it is right now to back when I was married. I was never more lonely than when I was married. So... hopefully if I ever do have any sort of relationship or anything in the future, it'll be a much happier one. But I don't regret anything. There were still plenty of happy memories that did get made. I am very happy and grateful for my son, even though I am a bit sad and depressed about various circumstances revolving around that. But heck, I think for the first 3 to 5 years after the divorce, I think I spent about a couple hours a day sitting in my son's room talking to his stuffed animals. Every day. Now I just go in there like 10 to 15 minutes a day, and sometimes I don't really even talk much to them anymore. I just sit there quietly with them. So, I don't know what the point of any of this was. I guess the main question is, does anyone else feel like society in general, not just us individually, the society, as I'm like stroking the fucking table over the mouse, that society as a whole is more antisocial, more lonely, that people are more just away from each other than ever before? Does anyone else feel like that you would desire someone to be like this to you, whether as a maid or a romantic partner or even as a friend? Just someone who actually cares about you like this and has kindness to you. Someone who is competent enough that you can rely on them, but also they're someone you feel safe and at ease with, someone you can feel calm around, someone who doesn't make you constantly anxiety-ridden or uncomfortable, someone who actually makes you feel welcome and wanted and cared about, someone who values you, who sees you as irreplaceable. I guess from my perspective, a lot of times I feel out there in the world that I feel that most people either regard me as invisible or disgusting. I'm either invisible and unseen, or if people do take notice of me, I feel like they seem to just be disgusted with the fact that I even exist. And that if anyone does have anything approaching a positive interest in my interaction with them, it's always, how can I be of benefit to them? How can I be used? How can I be some sort of tool? How can I be some disposable utility? That I'm basically, either I'm regarded as invisible, or even if the men and people out there who are seen as better than me in every way, even they aren't seen as human, they're still seen as subhuman, they're seen as, okay, you exist to pay this bill. That's it. You exist to fix this thing in the car. That you're just not even seen as a person. I don't know, does anyone else out there feel like either you're invisible or you're looked at as if you're, defective? That everyone either just views you as background, invisible, or as unsavory words. I guess the main thing here is this. Someone who actually is smiling at you, who is pleased to see you, who is welcoming of you, who is happy you exist, is happy you're around, cares about you, is kind to you, and is just very happy that you're there next to them. Love, affection, hell, a lot of people would even throw submissiveness in there. Some people would see that as a negative thing. But I think when people say submissiveness, it's not intended to mean like a fucking slave or an object. It's not supposed to mean that you don't have your own will or opinions. It's supposed to mean that you actually respect the person, that you actually listen to them, you actually care about what they think and feel, and you don't consider yourself above them. I think it's supposed to show a degree of cooperativeness, that you're able to cooperate, you're able to not be combative or violent or hateful. But again, it's probably a bad example to be using in the situation we're talking about a maid, because that's a very different situation. But I guess the main thing is people want someone who isn't trying to fight some sort of battle with them. Like, you don't want to have to come home or be around your friends after and have to argue with people. And it's not like you're dismissing their thoughts or opinions. It's more so that, I guess the best way to put it is this. There are some people out there that are argumentative for no reason other than to be argumentative. That they don't really care about what's being talked about. They're obstinate, they're arrogant, and they lack any sort of, natural affection. That any sort of closeness and intimacy on an emotional level, let alone trust or safety, is gone. So again, I feel like it gets a bad rap a lot of times, people, that they view it in a very negative light. And I guess each to each their own. But I think it's just be about a sort of good faith discussion type thing. The idea that if you were to come home and talk to Seira, she's going to want to listen to your side of things and talk to you about it. That her goal isn't like, I guess the best way to put it is that you don't want to come home to the place where you're able to relax after the fucking war that is the world out there. Because it's a fucking crazy, chaotic world. You don't want to have some sort of competition with somebody. That you come home and you're having to compete or constantly prove yourself or some shit. You just want to feel accepted and safe and validated. I guess maybe there's a better way to word all that. But I guess that's the main thing I'm trying to say with that. Is that how many of you out there feel you're out there in the world? Like I go to Walmart or a store and I am very well aware. I'm very self-conscious. I'm very tuned into the fact that I'm a complete fucking nobody. I'm no one. I'm nothing. There is nothing valuable or special or unique or important about me. I'm a complete nobody. I'm nobody. But I think everybody out there, whether you feel the same way I do about that or not, having somebody you trust and feel safe around who sees you as irreplaceable and as the most precious thing in the world, I think that's a pleasant thing that everybody, or at least I think would be nice. And again, it's not like we're talking codependency. We're not talking about somebody has to be fawning over you every fucking moment or some shit. Obviously, we all like our own individual space. Even in this situation, if I was IRL in this situation with having a maid like this and all that, who I would still probably occasionally go for walks by myself, but sometimes I'd want her to go on walks with me. I like walking on the bike trails, okay? It's kind of sucks there aren't very much variety. Heck, it'd be kind of nice if there was one like cherry blossom trees and stuff like that. Different, I could just teleport across the planet and have different bits of nature. And here's the thing. I did a lot of camping when I was younger. I'm an Eagle Scout. Not that I remember how to do any of that shit. I'm just saying this. I enjoyed the camping trips of the past. I still enjoy spending some time in nature and touching grass and all that. But I don't want to ever sleep outside again. I like my big comfy bed. And the body pillows. LOL, otaku weeb. But I'm just saying. It's nice, the idea of somebody who would see you as not nobody. Somebody who would actually value you for who you are. Heck, to a degree, sometimes I feel like I would have to be like a god or rich or powerful or some shit in order for somebody to actually care about me, to actually value me as a person. But even then, they would just be value me for that trait or something, like, oh, I can fly and shoot laser beams. But I think at the end of the day, it's just, whether it be this maid master scenario or friends or romantic partner or anything else you can think of, I think people, myself included, just want to feel respected, appreciated, like, in the eyes of especially someone you're close with or live around, whether it be a maid or a romantic partner, that in their eyes, you're precious. You're not nobody or no one. You're that special person to them. And you're not replaceable. And your bond between you and that person is unique and special. And isn't some casual replaceable thing. Someone who has kindness and affection for you. Someone who makes you feel welcome and safe and respected and cared about. I don't know if anyone relates to any of what I've just said. I suppose I should end the video. I've been rambling for quite a while. Sorry I had a tendency to go on and on. Did it save? Yes, it did. Sorry I was so annoying about everything. I'll go and end the video. Well, I hope everyone out there has all the hugs and head pats you could ever want. And, well, hope you had a Merry Christmas. It's December 29th, 2024, 12:42 p.m. Ohio time right now. I hope everyone has a Happy New Year. Bye.